It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. No, he's not on vacation this week. In fact, I doubt there's any. Is there anybody on vacation this week from Indiana Borough Police?
Not this week, no.
Justin Schawl, the police chief here in Indiana Borough, visits with us, presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row, and the best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. And so there are big events that happen around town all the time, and some happen to be a little bit bigger than others. And certainly IUP homecoming can be a challenge because there are a lot of folks in town who haven't been in town for a while. A lot of folks come in just for the homecoming celebration. It's a big weekend.
It is a big weekend. It's one of the biggest weekends that we have in Indiana Borough. We do have some large special events that occur throughout the year, but IUP certainly brings in an influx of visitors. And you know, I've said many times, and I'll continue to say, that the larger the event, the more propensity for something negative to happen. So we need to have a strong plan. We need to have all hands on deck. And we just need to communicate the objectives of the weekend and talk to the community and ask for support and then be prepared to deliver peace, safety, and comfort.
In light of last year's shooting in Chevy Chase, which was off campus and wasn't a university event at all, but in light of that, have the preparations changed all that much this year or at all?
Well, you know, last October was certainly a tragic event, and I don't believe that was necessarily anything that had to do with planning. That was an impromptu gathering that saw a terrible act of violence. And so the answer to that is yes and no. There are always things to learn, and we certainly, none of us have forgotten that moment. As a matter of fact, it's still being investigated by the state police, and we appreciate everything that they're doing. You know, special events, again, they bring challenges. We're always planning and preparing for worst case scenarios and how we're going to plug in for our community and how we're going to deliver safety, and that's both proactive and reactive. So yes, it's complicated and complex, and it should be. But certainly the things that we're doing will prepare the community for safety. And then the second part of that is we need our community and those visiting to certainly be partners in safety, because the good intentions of many can be subverted by a few. And it only takes one person to create a truly nightmarish situation for everyone. And so trying to identify that one person or get to that activity or that gathering before there's a chance for something negative to happen is certainly the goal. We want to put those things away from the realm of possibility as much as possible. But no amount of planning, unfortunately, is going to prevent someone with ill intent from at least causing momentary harm. And certainly there was harm done at the community center, but I want to stress that event, even though it didn't occur in Indiana Borough, could have happened in Indiana Borough. It could have happened on IUP's campus. I mean, we're closely connected communities, and it was just a matter of where that specific gathering was going to occur on that specific day was where violence was going to occur. And so we're all working together. Well,
yeah, and that connection that you speak of is exemplified in the IACT committee, which will be meeting today, and a public event where we can learn what we might do to help. Also exemplified by a letter that was put out yesterday in combination with you and IUP Police Chief and Sheriff Bob Fyock, appealing to the public and to IUP students to be on our best behavior and I think as importantly to watch out for others and be a helper.
Yes, that's correct. There were two letters that went out yesterday. They were all co-authored by Sheriff Fyock, myself, and Chief Stringer, and simply and succinctly put, we're all better when we work together. And public safety doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens by the best effort of us all. And the more that we can stay engaged, the more that we can communicate, the more that we can be in positive relationships with each other, the safer that we can be. And that takes nothing away from the hard and specific skill sets that police officers have to develop, or our friends at fire and EMS have to develop. But truly, public safety is a community effort. And so that letter is a realization on the parts of the chiefs and the sheriff that it takes a community to keep a community safe. And it's also our best effort to prepare our community for some of the things that we anticipate are going to occur, and ask for everyone, if you see something suspicious, to report something suspicious. If someone's asking for a gathering to take place at a business location, then we can assume that that gathering is probably too large to be held on a private property location, and those gatherings that are too large to be held at someone's private residence probably needs police awareness. And certainly our students need to understand, many of them just being away from home for the very first time, and so this is a natural progression of life, but we have to understand that not everyone has our best interest at heart, that, alcohol consumption impairs judgment, and when we have impaired judgment, we do foolish things. When we do foolish things, we put ourselves in danger. And the best path for us to keep everyone safe is to elicit the support of the community, elicit the support and attention of our students, and not only to engage and continue to engage in the harder skill sets that we have, and of course the enforcement component of everything that we do, which is necessary and vital, but also just to engage, to get people thinking about their own personal safety. I would rather prevent every tragic thing from happening in Indiana Borough than to respond to it. But if we're going to prevent it, we have to talk about it. We have to prepare each other for it. And so, again, take nothing away from the strict law enforcement responsibility that we have over the weekend, but the second layer to that is community support, positive relationships, and just preparing everyone for the possibilities that may occur.
State police and other agencies are always involved in keeping folks safe. Mounted Patrol has been a part of this in the past. We're going to assume that they'll be a part of this weekend as well. We saw the Mounted Patrol and a very large police presence just last week here in Indiana for the rally at the KCAC, and that was an amazing event just to watch the level of security and the interagency goings on. In that case, we had Secret Service, we had Homeland Security, we had state police with the 400 police officers, and of course, you and your agency, IUP police as well. They all have to be aware of what's going on in and around the community, because something that starts in White Township very easily could end up in Indiana Borough, vice versa, and even further out. You really have to be reactive, and you have to be flexible and available, don't you?
We have to be strategically flexible, that is for sure. Just to speak briefly on the gathering that you're mentioning, Indiana Borough had a supporting role only to our partners with the state police, IUP police, and the Secret Service. But that strategic plan was complex. It was professionally executed. It was fascinating to be part of as chief of police, and it was historically significant. And so we were honored to be able to play a very small part in that. And I think that the leadership that the state police showed, and all of our partners, police, fire, and EMS, coming together to make sure that the Indiana Borough's interests and White Township interests were served, not only during the gathering, but at the gathering, and that we were able to pull that together as a team, safely, of course, being led, again, by the state police and Secret Service, was remarkable. And regardless of what your thought is on the political environment today, I think we can all agree that it's divisive, that it's getting increasingly more dangerous, and so we had Indiana on a world stage, and I just can't thank our partners enough for the way that they handled themselves and demonstrated and put Indiana in that spotlight safely and successfully. And so that plays into this weekend, where again we have collaborative effort from everyone, from the district attorney's office to the sheriff's department to the IUP police department to the Pennsylvania State Police. We have partners at Liquor Control Enforcement. We have the state police horses. We have Summit Church plugging in for police officers. We have our victim services folks prepared for the weekend. We have a parade in town. We're going to have thousands of people here. So again, another coordinated effort that we're going to execute professionally, and maybe the fascination of that event is a little worn out because it happens every year, but it's no less important to prepare every year. And the second that we let our guard down, I think that we really do a disservice to the community.
It's interesting to me that we talk about this because a few years ago in another presidential campaign, just on an afternoon, somebody driving by said, "Hey, isn't that Ben Carson?" And Ben Carson was here standing at the corner of 7th and Philadelphia Streets. And every once in a while, you'll get events like that. Somebody just shows up in a downtown business, just an in and out type of thing. Do you ever get warnings ahead of time? Hey, this is coming, and we'd appreciate your knowing that it's happening, and And if you can be in the neighborhood, do you get those heads up?
Oftentimes we do, but sometimes we don't. And I would offer that I'd always rather have the heads up. But traffic flows freely through town. You never know who's going to appear or what issue is going to appear. So as you mentioned, strategic flexibility, and that's certainly something that I recognize, that we just have to be prepared. We have to constantly have a daily effort, police, fire, EMS, from any organization. We have to be prepared for both the worst and the best. And sometimes things are not necessarily either of those, but they require some level of planning and preparation to move on the fly. But, we are emergency responders. So at the heart of what we do is respond to emergencies. So even if we don't have an adequate amount of time or as much time as I, as the chief of police, would like to prepare, we're going to respond, and we're going to respond well, because we do things well here in Indiana. We do things well in Indiana County. And so again, we're going to be on a stage where we have an opportunity to work together and to demonstrate that efficiency.
Yeah. And we've got good weather coming up this week. So during the daylight hours, people will be out moving about on the streets. That's just a fair warning to folks to watch out. Somebody could be walking out into traffic without knowing the town as most of us do. And so we have to be careful.
We do. Nice weather over special event weekends are a double-edged sword. And certainly we all want that, because that makes the event nicer. But also we have to be more patient. We have to watch out for each other even more. We have to expect there are going to be outdoor gatherings, loud parties. We just have to respect each other as much as we possibly can, and move forward together and keep everyone safe.
And enjoy the parade.
That's right.
He is Indiana Borough Police Chief Justin Schawl. Thanks for the visit. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Fox News coming up next at 8 o'clock, and then we follow with news from our WCCS newsroom with Josh. We're 2 minutes away from 9 o'clock.